Hello, everyone, at any place and at any time that you're listening to this podcast. My name is Jasiek Luszczki, and I will be your host for today for the TZM Global Radio Show. I think that an introduction is in order as this is going to be my first such podcast hosting. So, I am Jasiek Luszczki. I come from Poland, from the Polish TZM chapter. Some of you may have met me under my nickname, The Jester. And I've been involved with the Zeitgeist movement for about 6, maybe 7 years, mainly helping to coordinate and animate the Polish Zeitgeist chapter, either nationally or in my city of residence, which is Wrocław. Nowadays, I mainly focus on doing the translation works and also helping with international events, such as, for example, the TZM meetup in Rotterdam that happened in December of 2015. And now there's going to be a Z-Day main event in Athens where I'm going to be as well helping to organize the team that will be working there on the ground with generally the organizational stuff. So that's mainly what I do nowadays. I try to spread the awareness about the resource-based economy and make this topic more popular. I sometimes also give presentations at various events, as well as go to various radio stations or, for example, internet TV stations or channels that sometimes contact us here in Poland. But today I am assuming a new role, which is the host of this show. And what I have for you is an interview with two fabulous people from TZM Rotterdam, TZM Holland, namely Anthony Jacobi and Robert Schram. These two fine gentlemen have been with us in the movement for about 5 years now, and they have a lot of interesting insights and a lot of interesting practical news for you, which they will talk about during the interview. I would just mention briefly that it's basically them who made the TZM meetup in Rotterdam possible, as they provided the venue where we were able to meet and spend some time, but also they provided many other additional things that helped us during this meeting, for example, the catering and food in general, and also a lot of insights and information and the experience that they have. I hope you will enjoy listening to this interview as much as I enjoyed doing this interview. It is about 1 hour long, but trust me, you will not be bored at any moment, and surely you will not be disappointed. So, without further ado, here is the interview with Anthony Jacobi and Robert Schram from TZM Rotterdam. Enjoy. I'm here today with Anthony Jacobi and Robert Schram, and thank you guys for doing this interview with me.
Welcome.
You're very
Jasiek.
welcome.
Thank
We're
you.
happy to be with you.
And they are, well, among other things, activists for the Zeitgeist movement and many other groups and initiatives from Holland. And straight away, I would like to ask you, well, who you are and what's your involvement with the Zeitgeist movement?
Thank you, Jacek. With Robert Schram, promoter for the Zeitgeist movement. Started the regional movement about 5 years ago. 50 reflect on my life and overthink current society models and found in the Zeitgeist movement a lot of recognition of how society works now, and gave me lots of insights.
Great, great. And you, Anthony?
Yeah, so I started indeed in the same period around 5 years ago. I was back then working as a probation officer. I saw a lot of people from different walks of life getting involved with the monetary system in another way, as in a, well, so to speak, criminal way. And I was always asking myself, why do they do this? And the answer usually was because they were doing it for the money. And I was thinking about why is the system the way it is, and this is how I got online and discovered the Zeitgeist movement and explaining about the, let's say the parts in the system that don't work in an harmonic way. And this is better when I got really interested in the RBE kind of thought, the NLRBE, which is really resonating with the way I would like to live my life and make a transition from this point to a desirable system that kind of looks like or is a NLRBE. So this is like, yes, we kind of met up, Robert and I, with a lot of other friends from the Zeitgeist movement chapters in Holland. This is how things got started. Yes, 2010 actually was the moment that we discovered this cool building called the Meesteren Warehouse in the city of Rotterdam, and this is when things started to happen. Yes, I will explain more about that later if you want. Yes.
Yes, of course. I would definitely want to hear more about the Meesteren building and the whole story about that, which is fascinating. But before we do that, could you tell us a little bit more about the stories and the achievements of the Dutch Zeitgeist movement chapter? What have you done? What projects and events have you organized and participated in?
Yes. When the first new approach was done by the chapter coordinator from TZM Holland. He did a road trip through the big cities in Holland to reopen new chapters in Holland, new TZM city chapters. And so when he arrived in Rotterdam, a small group of us came together and decided to organize Chapter Rotterdam, which is one of the big cities in Holland. And we kind of decided, we need a building in order to organize things. You need a location. And we did that, and we got ourselves in the beginning just one location, and we started to organize, of course, the TCM Z-Day events, like the one that's being organized internationally in the area of March, and the media festival we did as well. And of course, we did some smaller events like screenings and chapter meetings, like local chapter meetings. And so we were in the beginning very, very active. Then we saw some ups and downs. I think all chapters see that, people come, people go, but there is always this small group that stays and never leaves, and that's us.
Yeah, you're the core team. And so you got the building, which is an amazing achievement on its own. But I've also heard that that was not the only thing you were able to arrange. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, what we kind of saw was that in order to get things moving forward, we always were challenged by the monetary system, because if you need like flyers or posters or banners or any kind of material, there's money involved. And so what we did is we organized events, like charity events, and that more what kind of looked like very cool parties, which they were indeed. And so this is how we got our budget to move forward and to grow forward as well. And we kind of created this system that when money comes in, it flows in a harmonic way towards resources. And so we create resources out of money and share those resources together. So in the beginning we had a few resources, then it grew with more resources, and those resources became bigger and bigger, and so we had more to share together. And this is how the movement in chapters were able to organize more events and more professional events in the long run. Yes.
So do you want to tell me that instead of just going to some kind of business and ordering, let's say, 1,000 flyers and paying for that, or getting, I don't know, T-shirts, a banner, or something like that, and also paying for that, you're able to simply kind of pull these companies into your, I don't know, network and make it happen without the use of actual money, with more of a kind of a moneyless exchange.
You're absolutely right. You're explaining it in a perfect way because that's exactly what's happening here. We created a network with like-minded companies, as in companies that are in one way active in the monetary system, but with their other foot there in the sharing platform that we created together. Let's call it an RBE platform, as in a transition platform. Of course, we are living in a monetary system. We cannot deny that. But we created a way to not accept just the fact that that is the fact. We kind of said, let's not complain about the fact that we are living in a monetary system. Let's create a system that works for everybody and can grow for everybody. So indeed, we involved many others, like companies or other organizations, to share their resources in the platform. And so indeed, we have like a multimedia company that is printing our flyers and posters and banners directly involved. So if we need anything on paper or on posters or anything, we just, ask one of our other friends that are involved, like graphic designers or website builders, to do their thing and well, create together. It's like a co-creating process that we share the resources, the knowledge, the force, the power together. Yes.
Yeah.
So
And also,
Robert, please.
sorry, Jasiek. Also, we understand and we saw that it helps a lot that if you want to explain a model and an idealism or a movement like the Zeitgeist movement or any other, the Venus Project and the resource-based economy movements, it helps a lot when people can see that you can really do it in practice. So we rolled out the blueprint, started working with the sharing economy as a stepping stone towards a moneyless society. And it really helps a lot that people can see and see the manifestation of it. So they can have some help or get some, open up a bit more to the ideas and thoughts that are related to the resource-based economy.
That sounds fantastic. What form is this blueprint in?
Well, this blueprint is actually a model that, in one way, if you don't know what's happening, looks like business as usual. But in real time, it's business awareness
Awareness as usual.
awareness as usual.
Yeah.
So business as usual becomes awareness as usual.
Yes, I love
And
this slogan.
yes, so what we do is, if you could picture yourself this triangle, which is like a model for the monetary system, which is business as usual. You have the triangle pointing up towards the smaller point, and then if you look at the system in a order that is, if you have the wider part of the triangle and at the bottom, that's the, let's say, that's the people that are working for money. But if you go up to the triangle, to the smaller part, to the point of the triangle, that's the system that is, being leaded or owned by, for example, shareholders that make people work for money. So they're actually receiving the money by using people that work for money. And so that's the monetary system that I don't think that I need to explain much more deeper. I think everybody.
Well, 50 to 55 people own half of the world's wealth,
Yes.
right?
So that's the point of the triangle that we're talking
That's
about.
this
Indeed.
this pyramid of power that is used by conspiracy theorists on one hand, but it's a genuine thing, and this is really how it's structured right now, right?
Yes. So without complaining about that, because this is what we created as a human species for last centuries, of course. So without complaining about it, we just said, okay, that's the way it is, but we'll change it. And so we flipped the triangle over. So now, if you look at it in a way, if you picture yourself the following triangle, this time the point of the triangle is pointing down,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes up in a wider way. So what we do now, instead of letting the energy, the effort, or the, how do you say, return of investment going towards this point as business as usual, we now say it becomes
Awareness as usual.
awareness as usual. And so the energy, the money, and all the return of investment goes up towards the platform. And now we are creating budget and more resources to share. So I will give you a concrete example. One of
Please.
our divisions is like a cake shop. We have a cake shop. We're sitting there right now as we speak. We're enjoying free coffee. We're enjoying cupcakes as we speak, which is
Nice.
part of part of the platform, because this is one of the, let's say, companies that is selling cakes, cupcakes, and coffees, wedding cakes, any cake you wanna fantasize about. I mean, they're there, and we're actually um, we're actually selling those cakes to people that are not involved in the platform, and for the usual price, as in business as usual. But this creates for us a business model, that budget is being created to divide into the platform. So when all the costs that we make in this cake shop are taking off, there is profit to divide. So instead of profit, we call it budget, because in a business as usual world, um, profit goes to to the owner of the company or to the shareholders. Or in our model, the profit becomes budget to share. So this is how we do it. This is how we create budget for projects, for resources to share. And this is just one of the many examples that we have. We organize events. We have our own catering division. We have our own administration division that works exactly the same way. So in the platform, nobody pays. If somebody from the platform is celebrating his or her birthday,
That's what I
guess
wanted to
where
talk
the
about, actually.
yes, this is when the cake comes up. I mean, we have a number one rule: no cake, no party. So when there's a party, there should be a cake. And guess where this cake is coming from? From our own cake shop. So nobody goes out to buy a cake. No, it's being shared. The possibilities are being shared, and it's possible to get a birthday cake in our platform. If you're involved, if you're taking part of this platform, we share those possibilities.
And are all companies taking part in the network? Do all the companies agree to do that, to share information about their profit and turn it into the budget, so that kind of everybody contributes and everybody reaps the benefits of everybody else's success, right?
Yes, there's a, how do you say, we divide two ways of working together with the platform. We have our own completely 100% powered by our own platform, powered by the Meesteren Foundation or the Zeitgeist movement. Um, um, Indeed, those divisions are 100% working like that. We also have corporation style agreements, like there is a company that is taking part of the platform with one foot, and the other foot is still in the monetary system. So like if you have like for example, this copy shop that we were just talking about, that's not owned by the platform. That's a business person or a company that is with, we we divide the resources, but this person is also a, how do you say, a company at itself. So the person that I'm talking about, his name is Fas, and Fas is actually a business person working together with the platform, but also being his own business person. So he's sharing his resources with us in one way, and in the other way, he's just doing business as usual.
Yeah, and it's also the thing that sometimes at the beginning, some companies are a bit skeptical because they don't really understand what we're trying to achieve. That is that we're really investing in the real currency, which is social capital. So when we explain to them that we've reached the borders of the current socio-economical consuming system and that we're trying to help the people that drop out of the system, the current system, so they're going downwards in peril. We're trying to reorganize them and give them a place to work and to give them an opportunity to participate in well, our blueprint and our sharing model. So
Yes.
and when they understand this, then and they have a social venture, and then they are easily committed and wanting to join, and that makes us stronger, going up in the upward spiral and creating a momentum.
But this sounds so good. It's actually hard to believe it's true because clearly, when you look at this hardcore monetary system rules that we live in, it's not that easy. I don't, I know that many people will not believe that you can just, come up to somebody, some businessman, and say that, I don't have really any money, but I want this resource or that, a car or a building or something else. People don't just do that. So what's the catch? How did you do that?
Well, we started, how do you say, safeguarding one building for the owner of the building, which was called this warehouse, the Meesteren warehouse. This is where it all started. And so the owner of the building, which was owned by the city officials from Rotterdam, they were having some kind of headaches. Headaches as in this place was not being used, this warehouse was not being used at all, but it was being used by some criminal organizations to do some drug deals. And so it was like, for police officers, every time they drove by, they had to check the building out, and it was much smarter to get it safeguarded. So this is when we jumped in. This is when I started to live in this building, which is 24 rooms, where are about each. And so I had a lot of possibilities to take care of. I had a lot of room, space to share with friends and others. And this is how the project started. So
So
when we
you
noticed that,
basically devised like a mutually beneficial agreement with the city.
yes, so win-win situation indeed. So
And no
police
money was
officers,
involved at the beginning.
no money at all. No money at all. If you look at it, there was money involved, but it was money being saved, money that didn't
Right.
have to be spent. So this was the win-win situation, of course, because the city of Rotterdam was very happy that there was a small group of people safeguarding that building without any costs, and we were very happy, of course, for being able to maintain a building without any cost. So this is when the win-win situation started, and when we explain how this model could be started, we always challenge others to get your first building. This is something that I also presented during the TZM European meetup. If I mean, this is not rocket science that we're talking about. This world knows a lot of empty buildings, because that's also part of the monetary system, as in this era of time. Because of this economic crisis that we're talking about, a lot of companies go down, so they leave those buildings and they leave them behind. They're just empty. You see those big signs for sale or for rent, But in this period of time with this economic crisis, not a lot of people are jumping for joy to get this building going because they cost a lot of money. So they're just sitting there and being
If you think about it,
yes,
in a way, this is really the start of the resource-based economy because
yes,
these buildings are resources
yes,
and we're using them.
and we're using it. So this is the kickoff. This is if you find your first building, you can start growing your own network because whatever you want to do, if you want to organize anything, you need a place to do that. I mean,
And usually they cost money to rent, right?
yes, yes. So this is how you get friends, and this is how you make friends very easily, because there's always people or groups looking for places to do and organize things. And well, what
But
you
what
can do
do
is
you let's say you have a building, right? You either safeguard it or you somehow come into possession of it. You organize some events, you sell the venue, you rent it, and then what? Or is there a different approach, a better approach?
the better approach is that you make a joint venture together with this other person or group, and you share your resources. So, for example, if you come in contact with, for example, a DJ that wants to grow his popularity, well, you make friends and you say, well, let's throw a party together. For example, this is just one of the many examples that we can share with you. So this DJ has a network on Facebook, you have your own network on Facebook, and you throw a party. You ask people to chip in some money, and well, this is where you create another budget. You just threw your first private party with the friends of the DJ, the friends of your own network, friends and friends of friends, and let's say you created a private party for 100 persons that leave behind 10 euros. You just have created a budget of 1,000 euros which you can spend for resources. You don't spend it for selfish purpose, of course, no, because that's, I think, how we change the way we want to be. This budget that is being created to create resources to share. So that's the number one rule, of course. Make sure that when you use money, you use it to create resources, not to put back
Right.
into the monetary system. And so we have two rules in this game. First rule is try to not spend any money in the monetary system. Make sure you share your resources. Those resources can't be shared because, well, for whatever reason, there are no possibilities. Then you look outside of your platform and then you start to use money. But the best way to prevent it is to make sure that you um, can make a barter deal, like a favor for favor. This is not sharing. This is like exchanging possibilities together, and that's let's say if sharing isn't possible, you to go to the next step and you start to make it possible to exchange possibilities together. And if that doesn't work, then you will start to talk about money. So that's number two rule.
And
If you make money, make sure you use it for creating budget for resources. So yes,
it reminds me of this thing that I used to talk about a lot, explaining how the transition might happen to a resource-based economy, that we basically create these kinds of bubbles within these systems where the inner atmosphere operates on completely different rules than the outside world of the monetary system, that the inner world makes things happen and money is not an issue, whereas when there's contact with the external world, and then the money is used. That's more or less what you're describing, right?
more or less. But I want to add something very important towards that. What is very important to realize is that if you look at this planet as one planet, it's very important not to divide the society into, how do you say, more than one group. So what we kind of do is we use all the resources and we'll how do you say, we respect everybody in the system, people within the
Sure.
platform and of course people outside of the platform. But what we are creating is a harmonic way for resources going from one point to the other point. So that's the transition that we're talking about. So we're working together with city officials. We even are working together with banks or, with companies that are very monetary organized. But because of the fact that we are working together with them, there's a transition is being created. The effort goes into a platform instead of just to the top of the company that we are working with. So
Right.
that's
There is
that's
no need to.
change comes from inside, So we don't see we don't see us or the platform as a separate bubble. We are a bubble indeed, just like you explained, but it's part of a whole. It's part of the system called planet Earth. Yes.
Right. It's what you say to me reminds me of this slogan that, it's better to what you do actually. It reminds me of the slogan that it's better to light a candle than curse the darkness. So instead of like criticizing people who got entangled with the system, with the monetary this rat race, you simply approach them as other human beings who live in a similar situations like we do, but maybe had different experiences, and you show them that a better approach is possible, more beneficial for everybody, right?
Very right, very right. That's very well explained. And this is how you create co-creation. This is how you start to build up a network that likes to work together with your platform. Because instead of being against anything or anybody, you are creating win-win situations for everybody, for everything. So, for another example, because of this economic crisis that's going on, there's a lot of students, they finish their school, their study projects, and then they take on another challenge to even, become more smarter than they were before, and they take on another study program. But in the end, they're done studying, and then what? There are no jobs for them. So what we do is we invite them to co-create together with us and help each other instead of them, working in places that, that have nothing to do with their passion or their study that they did, like their profession. They come and share their resources in our platform, and this is how things, all those resources, all those knowledge, and all these experienced people, professionals, come to join us. And when there's money being made, of course they need an income, but when there is profit being made, new budget is being created for the sharing platform. So this is very, it's like sharing is multiplying. That's what we say in Holland. I don't know if you have a
Yes,
saying in
yes.
your country as well. So when you share those possibilities, you multiply power, you multiply effort, you multiply the return of investment. Yes.
Yeah, and it's also one track of our awareness plan is to retrofit all the buildings that we own now. So these are all buildings we want to be 100% energy neutral, sustainable. So we're redeveloping the buildings, retrofitting them, giving them solar panels, wind turbines, LED lights, bring the energy usage down. So, and this all brings more awareness also to the sustainable society that we'd like to work towards and to take our responsibility and be the example for that.
That sounds amazing. But okay, right now the Maitren Foundation owns how many buildings?
We have 4 buildings as we speak, and more coming up in the near future, because the city of Rotterdam really likes to work with us, because they see the good. So they see us as a organization that actually is a good example for creating a we society, as our mayor wants to call it. So we actually have a close relationship with the city officials, and we have a common goal, which is called a project named the We Society. And our mayor uh, has discovered the model and wants to organize even masterclasses together with us. So we're now approaching high schools, universities, and big companies and organizations to present the model that we're talking about, and now it's an official part of the We Society plan of the city officials. Yes, so we have
Get
those 4 buildings as we speak, with more coming up. But we don't want to grow too fast because, you know, like they say, the elevator towards success is out of order. Only the stairways work step by step. And that's very important to realize, because if you get over enthusiastic, you might take too many steps in the same time, and then things go wrong. So it's very important to make things smart. Yes.
Could you then share us some stories of how you came into possession of these 4 and more coming buildings, so that people listening and activists from different chapters from all over the world could maybe look for opportunities like that in their own regional chapters?
Okay, we'll do that. Now, it's very important to realize that every downside of this economic system is creating an upper side for us in a resource-based economy way of thinking. Because if you realize that a lot of very important resources as buildings are being left alone, are just sitting there and being empty, you know that there's somebody owning, or some organization owning, that building. And for this owner, it is a headache. It needs to be safeguarded. It costs money just to leave this building behind. So money is getting out of their pockets, and they don't like that. If you're an owner of a very big building, you don't like the fact that your building is not being used, not being rented by others. So it will only cost you money, and this is your chance to approach this owner of the building. This is your possibility, that just and
Opportunity.
this opportunity in it. And so what I always suggest is you need to play the game in the monetary way. In the monetary system, people usually like to work together with people that are like-minded. So I'm not trying to divide others with others, but in a monetary system, people like to dress up in suits and things like that. So what we always advise is, go to a shop or rent out a suit and approach the person, the owner, the organization of the building, and come up with a good plan. And tell them that you are part of an organization. Explain them that you are willing and able to take care of their building in the meantime, and safeguard it, keep it clean, and use it in a proper and polite way. This way they save money, because now they don't need to hire security companies to do that for them. And if you prove that you're indeed a good organization, you're using this building in a proper and polite way, they will like that, of course. And that you just cut yourself a resource, a very important resource, as a location. And what we did is, with this first warehouse, we created this model, and then we exchanged, how do you say, we multiplied this model into more buildings, and now we own 4. And one story I would like to share with you is that we actually bought one of those buildings for €1 because the owner of the company had so much headache with that building because of regulations and other situations that were only costing money for this organization. So they were very relieved that they could just actually give it away for €1 to us. And I am very sure that in many other countries you will find those situations as well. Because just imagine you're a owner of a building and things don't go as business as usual. They don't, in this monetary age that we're living, a lot of companies are going down. We know that for a fact. Everybody knows that. You just need to turn on your television or read the papers, and you see all those stories of companies going down. But those companies, those same companies, they own buildings, and if they own them, they will cost money if they use them.
And
So
how much was the building worth at the time when you bought it for €1?
they tried to sell it. They tried to sell it for 1.8 million euros, and there was nobody. And that's a very cheap bargain because the value of the building was more than 10 million.
For €1. All right, that
Yes, yes.
sounds.
And that's the insurance value. I need to explain that because if this building was being burned down, the insurance would pay out 10.3 million to the previous owner
After renovation.
after renovation. So that's one way to get rid of a building is to just light it up and blow it up. But then you get in trouble with the law, and we're not like
Yes.
that. But
And
they tried to sell it for 1.85 million euros, and there was nobody willing and able to do that.
and I'm guessing that they didn't have any viable plan on how to use the building, right? They would have to invest a lot of money to repurpose it for some, I know, commercial
Yes.
aim, and they just didn't want to pump any more funds into that, right?
Correct, you're correct. And this is how they get desperate and are willing and able and happy to give it away for €1. And this is just one very lucky situation, of course. But then again, it's a very logic situation that you will find in many more places in this planet right now. Because it's just logic at work. It's logics at work because if you own a building and it costs you money as a company or organization, it's better to get rid of it than to keep on to it. So, yes.
So the vital thing, and to make the picture clear, that you purchase these buildings cheap, or for a symbolic price, or for a reasonable price. So you can also ask for reasonable rents, because you of course have to pay for the electricity bills or something.
Yes.
So
Right.
it's not that you can do this totally without money, but you can give startups and renters a room, an office to work in for a very reasonable price. So they have some, get some grip on their own development and their own company to grow. And so they can also grow with the Mason Foundation and strengthen each other.
It reminds me a little bit of the metaphor I use when explaining what the Zeitgeist movement activists do, is that imagine that you play the Monopoly game where the ultimate goal is that one person wins and everybody else loses, and everybody kind of heavily relies on money and money manipulation. So if you approach this from an ideological standpoint, that you kind of throw away all your money and give it away to other players and say that, let's not play by these rules, and let's just like hold hands and sing kumbaya, nobody will want to play with you, and you will basically lose the game quickly. You will be dropped out. But if you continue playing the game, but instead of like asking hard money from everybody who stands on your hotel. You just tell them that, all right, maybe instead of paying me money, you just kind of remember about this nice thing I did for you, and later on we can figure something else out. You kind of continue playing the game, but not by the rules of the game, but trying to modify them, showing people in practice that these other rules are actually more enjoyable, and in the end, everybody is better off. Something like that. That's kind of what the Meesteren Foundation is doing in real life.
Yes,
Yeah, correct.
just to add two words, that is the Meesteren Foundation is just a name that we used because that's the name that was being written very big on the first building that we started at. But actually, it's the Zeitgeist Movement Chapter Rotterdam that was being, needed a location. But back then, the Zeitgeist movement wasn't as popular as it is right now. Back then, if we would have named ourselves the Zeitgeist movement, and we would, approach the city officials of others, they would, if they would go online and, search for references about the Zeitgeist movement, it wasn't as popular as it is right now. So we came up with a camouflage name, and that's the Meesteren Foundation. But just to
It's also the stationery of United Earth.
yes, and it's for many other organizations. It's just going back to this topic. It's just a name, but it's all part of a RBE manifestation. And moving on towards that topic, we would like to share with you another story, and that's if we would, how do you say, our in the identity, if we would just put that aside for a moment and just focus on the RBE mission that we all want to achieve. It's very cool to use camouflage names as like the Meesteren Foundation or other names, but just to let you know, we don't mention our name that many times. The Meesteren Foundation or the Zeitgeist Movement isn't where this mission is about. This mission is about the RBE society that we all want to create, and this is where we keep our focus on when we start talking about what we're doing, what we want to achieve. And this is the challenge that we have working together with others. We always ask others, cool, would you like to join this mission with us? And perfect, let's do that. And this is in the end how we came up with this idea to work together with other movements, with other chapters, with other like-minded organizations. In the end, we came up with the idea to co-create together, and this is how this platform even got a jump start. Instead of just working with TZM chapters, we started to work with other chapters that are like-minded and are willing and able to share this business model, or this model for awareness, of course. And United Earth came up.
Let's talk about United
yeah.
Earth in just a second. I just wanted to
Yeah.
kind of stress it, because I think this is one of the most important things you've just said in the light of our whole conversation, that this is the core idea behind the TZM activism, is that we don't support the Zeitgeist movement. We support a better world, a more sustainable system, and a reality in which people and the planet are being cared for. So the names are simply here to help us kind of categorize things in our head. But if the Zeitgeist movement changes the name to something else, we shouldn't be bothered at all, because the train of thought is what is important. And I'm very happy, and I really appreciate that you embody this in your work, that you focus on the train of thought.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for mentioning it and explaining this in a perfect way.
Yeah, exactly. And we understand that thinking in silos, which is still happening with some movements, that that holds us really back to really join our forces and really get to the point that we want to get to. So we're trying to stay away from the dogma trap and trying to keep an open vision. And every movement has his own identity and his own idealism, and that's perfect. And we especially would like to keep it that way. But we can look for a general platform where we can strengthen each other and help each other on the road towards the new paradigm.
Exactly. I usually, when I speak with people who have never heard about the resource-based economy or the Zeitgeist movement, I try to lead the conversation in such a way that actually my interlocutors think they came up with the ideas on how to improve the world,
Yeah,
and
good tactic.
I try to kind of do everything not to mention even the resource-based economy name and not to mention the Zeitgeist movement name, because I know that many people get kind of an allergic reaction to any names, any organized groups, because there are so many initiatives, commercial initiatives around the world that, oh, you like puppies, so maybe you kind of can sign up to our group and we collect monthly donations and something like that. So instead of focusing on that, we just focus purely on the ideas and the train of thought. But coming back to the United Earth, this is the group. I had the occasion to meet some of the people associated with the United Earth, and I feel myself being associated with that after that, before the meetup in Rotterdam, before the TZM meetup. So can you tell a little bit what hides behind this banner of the United Earth?
Well, yeah, it's the idea was when we started to organize the conference of the movement last year, as we started about February, March, and started contacting different movements because, well, we understand that there are 250,000 to 500,000 movements active all around the world, all creating a better, wanting to create a better world, a better model, and have all terrific ideas. So we understood that we would make more progress and then more could work more efficiently together if we started organizing. And that's why we organized the Conference of the Movement in December. And while starting in March and April last year, while contacting these movements, we really had an idea about creating a platform like United Earth and see how we could construct this to a very efficient organ or efficient space where we could communicate and find out if we could collaborate and co-create. So this is when it really started to spiral up, and lots of things have been happening since, because I think now about 1,000 movements are in contact with each other and having meetings weekly. I have 3 meetings a week, sometimes at night, from movements all around the world, because they also understand that working together is crucial in this phase. And we'd like to start getting to the 10% critical mass that we need if you find that tipping point, and then the rest will follow from that point on. That's what we're in the stage that we are now, trying to unify is first. That's the 1% of the 1%, then get to the 10%, and the rest will be history.
So you don't care if some organization doesn't want to build circular cities or doesn't want to kind of call it the resource-based economy or not. You just know that they also want to go in a better direction for all of us, and that's your kind of a ground for cooperation.
That's indeed our mission, to see if like-minded. They don't need to be exactly like us, because that's not the world we're living in. We have like diversity, but we want to create unity out of diversity. And so Robert has a very cool model to explain it when it comes to balance. He will explain a shadow to you right now.
Please do.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's of course important that we find the right balance and the right mixture because there are so many great ideas. So and this also means that we have to speak a language that everyone can understand. And well, we speak a lot about speaking water, and that's an analogy about if you refer as the current social economical society as ice, the old paradigm, and if you refer to the new paradigm groups like the spiritual movements and also the moneyless societies, that is vapor, they all consist of water, and uh, in one case or the other, they really are talking about the same things, basic needs. We all need food, we all need love, we all have the same good qualities and intentions. But the thing is that we've been thinking about that vapor can't talk to the ice because they can talk to them, but the ice doesn't understand them. They speak a different language. They're too far apart. So what we're trying to do with United Earth and the Mason Foundation and also the Zeitgeist movement is to speak water, to be that in between translation model for them, so we can still keep understanding each other and speak the right language.
I
So
love
that's
this
for us.
metaphor.
Yes. So just to give you a very cool example, what we need to do, what the challenge is as a, well, change maker, if you want to call it that way, is to be able to change your temperature being water. So if you go to a city official, which is usually, not always, but usually a person that's really thinking in an ice way, frozen water, icy, you just turn your temperature colder, but you will stay water. You will know. You will not go back to the ice. I mean, you are awake. You are aware of, ice is being nice. You don't want to go back, but you do want to communicate because that's a fellow citizen of the planet that you're living in. So if you want to communicate with others, being in the ice, you just turn your temperature colder. But that's the same way the other way around. If you want to co-create with others that are actually already there, they see every a good part about sharing and not using money, and they have they're sharing the same vision as you. It's easier to turn the temperature on and become warm water again. But always stay water. Don't lose yourself in it. Don't become vapor, because then you just disconnected yourself to reality. I mean, that's what's happening with some groups on this planet. They just disconnect themselves. They start living in eco villages and places like that, and they just divide. They don't want to go back to that world again. Thank God there are a lot of people waking up in the vapor world again, and they stepping back into the water world because they see, they don't want to lose their brothers and sisters in the cold world that's, and they're, we have very cool friends in those places as well. They're using Apple and internet, so they don't divide themselves, but they come back and work together with us and the same mission. And then every time they need a break, they go back to their eco village for 2 weeks.
Well,
They get
I don't mean you want to say eco-village because they're great, and
yes,
that's also. But I think you mean communities.
communities. Yes,
yeah.
yes. Now communities. I don't want to divide the world. As it's just an
Sure,
example
sure.
of people moving from hot temperature water to cold temperature water. That's the metaphor that we would like to use. Don't separate yourself from this planet's mission. If we want to co-create a transmission together, it's very important to stay water.
It's
So
it's like the better version of what Bruce Lee was talking about, that you have to be water. I'm definitely
yes,
stealing that one
Right,
for my
right.
explanational
And we
purposes.
are all one.
we're all one, man.
I think that that's honestly the best depiction of we are all one that I have heard. So I'm very happy that you shared this with us. And as one of the final note, because we will have to finish, unfortunately, I know that you are in Rotterdam and you can be contacted through the TZM channel. So if anybody wants to kind of talk with you, they will probably be able to get you there. And also, there will be this presentation you did talking about the details of how the Meesteren Foundation was brought to life from Rotterdam. It will be available on YouTube hopefully soon. But as a final note, I would like to ask you to share some of the guiding lines for you and for the Zeitgeist movement that you would think can help us all in bringing about the transition and the change even faster. So what would you advise people to focus on in their activity efforts?
Well, just like we mentioned, picture yourself as a citizen of this planet, not being divided. That's really, I think, the most important. Don't be against anything, you know. I mean, we need to know that we can't accept the way things are, the way that things are right now. But it's very good to realize that there is another way, and that you can make a difference. You don't need to accept the way things are right now, but you do need to work hard to get to another point. It's not um, if we don't move forward soon and work hard now. Well, yeah, things will indeed go down, but we have very good positive hopes, and we are very, how do you say, devoted to work towards this goal, and that's what we want to inspire others. If you need help, if you need any motivation, we would like to invite you to come and see yourselves, that things could work and are working. It's not just a cool idea; it's really happening. It's manifesting as we speak. For example, we have the TCM Italian group coming over for 2 weeks in March, just to share and co-create. And when they come back,
Yeah, and three United Earth events in March, April, and June.
so I would like to inspire others by sharing each other's stories and possibilities, because you don't need to invent the wheel all over again. I mean, the knowledge is there. That's a resource, a very important resource. Find your knowledge, share your stories. That's what I would like to share with everybody.
So if some group wants to kind of come to Rotterdam and become part of the network, using your resources, being the building, for example, and sharing their resources, their knowledge, and their experience, that's totally doable, right? You're open for that.
Yes, of course.
We're doing that.
Yeah.
That's what we're for. We use
Perfect.
this method for doing the Zeitgeist, the TCM European meetup. We would like to consider ourselves as a platform, being an airport for other airliners, any airliner to land, get inspired, and move forward. That's what we're for. That's what we're creating, and we just named this platform the United Earth platform, but you can call it any other name, of course. It's about the mission. It's about,
I was thinking about this name, and like the safest and the most inclusive name I could think of. And if somebody has a problem with that name, if somebody says that, oh, they don't like the name, then probably I wouldn't want to cooperate with that person or this group.
Yes, well, we really, yes, are happy to create this airport, but what we would like to see is for more airports to be created all over this planet. And that's what we're here for. I mean, this is just one of many airports to come. And we would like to ask everybody to think about creating airports all over this planet. Every city in this world needs an airport. And, well, United Earth is a cool name for that. Let's call it the United Earth Airport Platform. But the mission is, let's just do this. Let's move forward towards a resource-based economy.
I'm sure
Right.
this your experiences will be a great inspiration for our listeners, and I hope that there will be many more people who will follow your footsteps and copy your success. I thank you very much for this talk. It was very eye-opening and inspirational, and hope to see you soon, hopefully in Rotterdam or somewhere else. Thank you very much for the conversation we've had.
Thank you, Jacek. Great.
Thank you. We had a good time.
Happy to be talking to you.
And looking forward to see you again, my friend.
Keep up the great work.
So, this was the interview that I wanted to share with you tonight. And as an outro music, I would like to play again the same song you heard at the beginning, which is The Furthest Star by VNV Nation. It's one of my favorite bands, not only for the music that somehow resonates with me, but also for their lyrics. And as they say in this song, we possess the power, if this should start to fall apart, to mend the divides, to change the world, to reach the furthest star. This is what I believe in, that if we cooperate, we can do the impossible. And this is the message I would like to leave you with. Good night, goodbye, and till next time. That was Jasiek Luszczki from TZM Poland doing a radio podcast for you. Bye.